What's good with YouTube? You already know. Big Flacco from ACP, a comics perspective. Hope everybody's having a blessed day. Before we get to today's video, man, please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel. And hit that bell notification for future fire content. Now, apparently they arrested a couple of suspects from the King City mass shootings, and they've tied them in with the other shooting that happened back in February in Soledad, where two individuals' cousins met their death. Now, like I said, everything I'm going to be discussing is all alleged. It's all coming from media outlets that's being fed through police sources and whatnot. So it's not 100% can say everything that I'm going to be saying is accurate. But let's go with what at least the media is putting out. And I may be able to add a little bit of what the streets are saying as well, right? But this is an active case. So everything is alleged. Okay, so apparently they arrested two suspects out of three. I think they're looking for a third suspect. They may have arrested him according to updates, but he's underage. They haven't released his name at this time. But the two individuals that they arrested are as follows. There was Pedro Nava, 22 of Greenfield, and then there was Jonathan Cervantes, 18 of Greenfield. There was a third, apparently, who's underage, right, that they will not release his name at this time. Now, they've been charged with, I believe, at least 4 counts of murder, 7 counts of attempted murder, and 4 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, and 2 counts of acting as part of a criminal street gang. Now, apparently, they're also being arraigned for a homicide that happened in early February of 2024 by the Salinas River, where 2 cousins were believed to have been killed in a case of mistaken identity. The first case basically happened in King City, right, where 11 people were shot, 4 of them were killed, right, at a party that happened right there around North 2nd Street. It happened on March 3rd, 2024. I know you guys all remember that. There was all kinds of news about it. Okay, apparently 3 masked gunmen wearing dark clothing got out of a stolen silver Kia and opened fire. They then left the scene and ditched the stolen vehicle in a vineyard on Apple Street outside of Greenfield. Apparently the car was found 3 days later. That was the case where 4 people were killed. Now the one that happened before, right, which was just weeks before in South County, 2 cousins were killed, right, like I said. They were confronted by at least 2 suspects, right, according to an investigator. The cousins then got in their pickup truck and drove off, but were chased by the suspects. Both vehicles crashed and the cousins were killed. The victims were identified as Andres Chavita Garcia and Jack Conchola, both from Soledad. Deputies said that both the cousins were not gang related. So that's 6 homicides, 3 suspects, 2 different locations. And the unfortunate, tragic thing I gotta say right now is this has become the norm. Monterey County has bred like an almost competition-like atmosphere for all the vagos out there because they're all well established, they're all well educated, they all got hitters, right? So the more you're viewed in that type of environment is by the more work that you put in. So it's just a common theme for people just want to get busy and get active with it, especially for the youngsters out there. You know, once people get to a certain age and they come out, they're usually representing or affiliating with something else that's going to be all about the money. Let the youngsters continue to put in work. That's always been the way it's gone. It's a cycle that's been continuously going on in Salinas for almost 45, 50 years. And not just Salinas, like I said, those smaller counties, South County, even all the way up to, you know what I'm saying, Monterey and whatnot. That whole county has a lot of, like I said, established hoods, established individuals that are in good graces, that hold rank, that hold status. So it's totally different. Like I said, it becomes competitive, you know, not amongst going to war with each other hoods, but amongst putting in work. And I did a video about, 6 months ago about King City and about how active it was, you know, and now this happens. You know, there's been a lot of people who've came out of this county, man. It's a very dangerous county. Shit like this is just a norm, like I said, man. Just a few years ago, they were basically killing Sureños, the Norteños were, on the freeway, rolling up on them, you know, catching them there because they weren't catching them at home, you know. So they found another way to engage in gang warfare, which was on the freeway. You know, a few of them got blasted on the freeway. One of them ended up going to prison, which was Pistoleros, or Pistol Pete, Tiny Lokes from Greenfoss, who to this day is one of the youngest carnales to be pulled in the system right now. You know, I know a bunch of other individuals. My boy Sorteño, man, straight, solid individual, man. Sharp, righteous, was a good homeboy, man. had status, had rank, and pretty much was one of the ones that kind of pioneered that town in the early years of it representing Norte. Then I knew Droopy and Wedo and a bunch of other cats from that area. So, like I said, the dudes that I've met that came out of that area, all solid, all ready to ride though too. And just years ago, you had the murder squad out there in Salinas doing the same thing. So, like I said, at the age of 15 to 24, there's a lot of unsolved murders, a lot of missing bodies, and just a lot of killings all in Monterey County because they just don't play out there. It's just the way it is. These shootings are not no surprise to the communities because it's just the way it is and it's the life that it is out there, you know. And as long as people are influenced by a community, right? Which, what I mean by a community, I mean the gangs. The gangs have infiltrated the community so strong that it's hard not to be touched by the effects of where they are at and what they represent. So, you know, even though it could be someone that's unrelated, like a family member or whatnot, they all understand the gang ties. They understand the life. It's generational. And everybody knows by the work that you put in is how your reputation is going to be viewed. And like every other young Mexican, you know what I'm saying, in California that is striving and gangbanging, they all want that recognition. In regards to this case, right? The first murders that happened allegedly out there in Soledad, apparently they were not gang members, mistaken identity. That's the worst. Worst is to commit an offense against a innocent civilian. Okay, but it happens all the time when it comes to gangs. Now they're saying that about the four individuals that were at the party as well, that none of them were gang members, that they were rather innocent people that were gathering to celebrate a birthday party. Now, is that true that both incidents they were not gang members? I don't know. Like I said, this is the media reporting, and sometimes family members will have, you know, their family members as gang members, but when they talk to the media, they're going to sit there and deny that and make their child to be a saint, while suppose they were out there gangbanging just as hard. Now, saying that about these victims, but to me, there still got to be a little bit of questions, right? Because that's a lot of people to knock down that were not gang members. 11 people there were shot, though, total, though. And that just goes to show that some people have a reckless abandonment when they come to their actions. You know, they don't think about who they may shoot, a kid, a grandma, or whatnot. They just shoot. In these communities, right, if a kid was to sit there and say, hey, you know what, I made first team All-American in football this year, man, my sophomore year, whatever it may be, right? The next kid may say, man, I'm not down 2 ops this year. Who do you think is going to get more recognition and more respect? The person who knocked down those 2 ops. That's just how it is in an environment that is influenced by gang culture. See, in the county where the biggest city is Salinas, which is recognized as basically like the mecca of the norteños, right? All these other small counties, right, are always fighting for their existence to be recognized, and they've earned it. That's whose shadows South County's been walking in, and they're not walking in shadows anymore, you know. And it's kind of like similar to like how Los Angeles is with the gang lifestyle. West LA has been probably to me the center point of where it all started, West LA. But East LA and South LA and all those areas, right, have been infested with the gang lifestyle for years, and it becomes generational, and it just becomes the natural and the norm. The same could be said out there in Monterey County. It's a more rural area, but shit goes down out there. And let's not forget about the Southsiders from this county. You know, they've been about that action. They've been about that business. You know, since the early '90s. You know, their reputation precedes them because they're in an environment where you have probably some of the most organized structure norteños, right, who are known for just sitting there going on missions just to take out ops, yet they still are able to exist. Thing about it though is this is going on in California everywhere. You know, this isn't just something that just happens just in certain areas. California is basically, you know, been overwhelmed with that life that it consumes everybody, and it's just part of the norm, man. Like I said, that's the sad thing. You know, hearing about this or hearing about that, when it starts to become normal, it means you're not really looking at it as a problem anymore because you're just used to it. Now, if you notice, there's been an upscale in homicides, violence, and whatnot over the last 6 months in a lot of different areas, especially in Monterey County. What is that attributed to? A lot of things, I believe. You know, a lot of things. And do I Think there's going to be more violence? Yeah, probably. Especially with all this rap beef going on. It's going to take to the streets a little bit, believe it or not. And the ones that are kind of instigating it from the other side, they're not going to be the ones that are going to be on the front lines. They're home safe 7 hours away from where the action is going to take place. Some of you guys may be wondering what the motive was. But see, as a gang member, you don't need a motive. Just someone being in the opposition is not motive enough. And that's just how you're trained. You're instilled with that thought that this is who the enemy is, and this is who I'm going to go at it with. And the more notches you have on your belt for putting in work is how you are basically fucking viewed by your peers. Anyways, man, just a real quick update about what I've heard about the King City mass shooting, the arrest and whatnot. And, they're already doing the grandstand walk about how they arrested these guys, man. But, let it all play out, man. With that said, it's your boy Flacco, Convict's Perspective. I'm gone.